So today we are talking about 5 ways that e-commerce businesses are scaling faster, saving money, growing internationally, simplifying payments, all of that good stuff.
Anyways, guys, for those of you who don't know, my name is Bradley. I'm the director of training here at Helium 10 and chief evangelist. No, that's not religious. Some people got offended that last time. It has nothing to do with religion. It's basically, I'm just trying to spread the gospel of Helium 10. I guess it kind of is religious.
Right,
anyways,
this isn't supposed to be religious, but you just use the word gospel. Let's say you're preaching the good word of e-commerce growth.
I am. All right. You got the top 2 podcasts, the top 2 most listened to podcasts in the world about e-com, or at least Amazon. It started off on Amazon. Now it's e-commerce, but I do the Serious Sellers podcast. Tim does the AMPM podcast. He'll talk about that in a couple seconds. I've launched over 400 products for other sellers before my time here at Helium 10, but I keep my knowledge fresh. In the last 7 months, I've launched 4 different 6-figure products on Amazon to help keep my knowledge fresh. So that's enough about me. Let's turn it over to the one, the only Tim Jordan.
So as Bradley said, I'm the host of the AMPM podcast. I am the chief growth officer at Sellers Funding. And if Ricardo's watching this, look, Ricardo, got some new shirts in. Ricardo's smiling right now. Founder of the Private Label Legion community. Been selling in e-commerce since 2015. I didn't type this, but the mastermind behind some of the most innovative Amazon growth strategies. I didn't say that. Somebody else did. So whoever made this slide, thank you. Makes me sound super, super smarter than I really am, especially with that grammar. All right. So today, besides giving you great hype music and showing you the pizza that Bradley's eating that makes me hungry, we actually want to bring you value, right? And this is not all about just trying to sell you on another tool. This is not just trying to pump you up about the 3rd iteration of an existing tool. We actually want to teach you good content. We want to talk about strategies. We want to talk about tactics. We want to talk about things that in the past has seemed maybe a little bit scary, a little bit complex, and simplify it with the new tools that Helium 10 has right now. So we're going to talk about demystifying VAT and GST. We're going to talk about simplifying international payments, cross-border transactions, how to consolidate operations within your business, which is always super, super important to simplify and consolidate and streamline. We're going to talk about some tremendous opportunities for national growth. And we're going to talk about how to prep for Q4 and Prime Day using leveraging cash flow and using capital. And this Q4 is going to be big. A lot of people aren't talking about it yet right now, but with the combination of Prime Day, our typical Q4, and then we add in the fact that some big retailers here in the U.S. like Walmart are not even opening on Thanksgiving Day. They're throttling back their Black Friday hours. Things are going to get ridiculous. So like I said, we're going to talk about tools. We're also going to talk about strategies. And a lot of this is going to apply to you, whether you're a brand new seller just getting started, you're trying to emerge in a different marketplace, or you're doing $20 million a year in sales, and you may be giving up 6 figures in profits that you don't even know about. All right, what is it and where did it come from? This term Alta, right? And there was actually a secret code word for this project that we used for months and months and months, and Alta was come up with recently. But Alta is basically a crazy idea that started off, I think, between me and Manny Coates a year ago. I was doing Project X filming, flying out to California, and Manny Coates walked into this little conference room that I had, and he was like, Tim, we got to set the bar higher. And we need to do that by creating resources that Amazon sellers currently don't have in any of this like Helium 10 space whatsoever. So we came up with this financial tool suite called Alta, and that's what it is. And again, today we're not just trying to pitch you a new tool. We're actually going to talk about using these things on cutting edge strategies that I have learned over the past several years, but we've never really talked about publicly before. We're going to show you screenshots of my WeChat on this webinar today, showing you my interactions, and it's some pretty powerful stuff. So definitely make sure to check all of this out. We're actually saving the best for last. We're actually escalating the coolness factor as we go through the webinar. So you definitely don't want to skip out early. So what is this, Bradley?
This here is actually my Alta dashboard. So, we don't, just like with, Cerebro or any tool like Helium 10, we don't want to just throw something out there and we don't even know how it works ourselves, or we haven't used it for our own businesses or something. So right there is a screenshot as of last night of Bradley's Alta dashboard. it shows you a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today, including that cool thing at the top. We're definitely going to be talking about. And I've got that's actually more. I have more money in my Helium 10 Alta digital wallet, $2,000, than I have in my bank account right now. But that's a separate story right there.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. All right, so let's talk about one of the solutions that all of these different tools are based on. And that solution we call the digital wallet, right? So the digital wallet isn't necessarily a specific function. It's like the foundation for potentially hundreds of different functions that you need to perform with a beginning business or a growing business, right? So again, this is basically a screenshot of what the digital wallet looks like. Now, let me give you a history of what kind of a digital wallet is. I've told this story, some people have heard it, but several years ago when I was trying to start doing more international business, I flew to Hong Kong. I went into an HSBC bank building, sat in a waiting room for 2 hours, had like a 2-hour-long interview asking for them to allow me to open up a bank account with my business. After 6 weeks, they finally responded and said no. They didn't want me. I wasn't qualified for a bank account. And since then, I have seen that time and time and time again. So this new world of fintech, financial technology, allows us to work together between Helium 10 and Sellers Funding to build a platform like this that allows you to open up one digital wallet that can access tons and tons of currencies, tons and tons of different countries from your laptop. It's crazy. So this is just an example of if you were, if you had an Alta Digital Wallet account open, and you had all of these different currencies open up, this is what it looks like. It's super, super intuitive. You see all these different functions on here, and it's pretty amazing. All right, so, and again, we just briefly want to talk about what the digital wallet is, just because it's the foundation of a lot of these products. So let's go down and talk about some of these products. Bradley, you want to hit this one? Or we can tag team it. And in case you guys are wondering, we did not script this or practice this, so we're just bouncing around freely and naturally.
Yep. So you see Nacho Libre, Tim?
Yes.
Remember the tag team? He goes, I'll take the stallion, you take the pony. So I here's the stallion. I'll take the VAT and GST. Actually, this is one of the ones I haven't done yet myself, but first of all, let me just look at the chat. I think everybody's heard of VAT, right? You guys all heard of VAT. You know what that is? And
here's the great question. Is it VAT or is it VAT? That's the big question.
A VAT is like a container or something. So I say VAT.
I hear people call it VAT. The problem is just the concept of VAT, GST is so confusing to people that they don't even know how to pronounce the deadgum thing, right? It's tough.
Well, if you call VAT or if you call VAT VAT, that means we got to call GST GIST, which I don't think we want to do here. But speaking of GST, how many people know what the GST is? I think most people have heard that VAT goes for Europe. That's very important in Europe. But how many people know about GST? There we go. So what countries is GST in? If VAT is in European countries, Tim, what about GST?
So GST is essentially, for all intents and purposes, and I'm sure some sort of tax attorney is going to yell at me for this, but GST is very similar to VAT, but it's in Canada and Australia. So when we think of VAT, which is the more widely used throughout the world, we have to mention GST, but it's fairly similar, right? Basically the same thing. Just Canadians and Australians have to be difficult, kind of like Americans have to use the standard instead of the metric system. Just screws it up for everybody, right? So the thing about VAT and GST is there are different functions that you have to perform when you're selling in different countries. So as a US seller, if I want to sell in UK, I want to sell in EU, I want to sell in these different areas, I have to open up a VAT or GST account. And I could do probably a 6-hour webinar trying to explain how to register, how to get your registration numbers, how to file, how often you have to file in different countries, monthly in this country, quarterly in this country, yearly in this country, until you hit a threshold, and then it needs to go to monthly. It's a nightmare. One slide sums up how Alta takes care of this. Whether you need to register, like get your number, whether you need to file or whether you need to pay, all of it's within one platform. This screen, there was actually 2 screenshots, sum it up completely. You basically enter your company information and you tell us, are you trying to file in the Czech Republic? Are you registering in the UK? Are you filing in Poland? It doesn't matter. All of these different countries, we can handle it under one central platform. And you pay for it in one place. And not only does the payment take care of the actual country fee, like that country's government fee, but it also covers us walking you through the process. So essentially, we've teamed up with some of the best providers in each individual country that handhold you and walk you through this process. So again, I'm not going to do 6 hours of explaining what VAT, GST is. If you're looking at expanding to a different country, you know what you need simply, right? I know I need to register and get my VAT number. All you have to do is hit this, basically this button on the Alta platform, and it takes care of it for you. That's the very simplified version, but honestly, that's all there is to it. Anything to add to that, Bradley?
No, you hit it. But I mean, I would say that's the number one thing, right? That people are worried about, especially for American sellers or people outside of Europe. When they go to Europe, they're like, oh man, do I need to do it in one country? Do I need to do it in multi-countries? You know, like how do I apply for one? All this stuff. So we're going to make that part easy for you guys.
Vincent just asked, what's the benefit? You know, basically, why do I need to register if Amazon's already taking it out on that behalf? Think of it as there's 2 different things. Like a consumer purchasing a product, they have to pay VAT on the purchase, but we have to pay VAT on our sale, if that makes sense. Think about it like there's a difference between import tax and sales tax in the US, right? And that's not an exact correlation. Like that's not the perfect example, but unfortunately, our governments tax us all in a lot of different ways. There's more than one place you have to pay VAT. So as a seller, you do have requirements for VAT also. All right, so marketplace payouts. The first time that I went to sell a product internationally, like I was selling on Amazon US, I went to start selling in Canada. Canada seemed like it was easy. I could put my pallets on a truck. I could ship it across the border. We could make those sales. And then I would log into my Amazon Canada dashboard, my Seller Central dashboard, and I would see my Canadian dollars that Amazon owed me. And every 2 weeks, those funds would get transferred back into the US, right? That's how sellers are doing it today. A lot of sellers are just letting Amazon make those payments for them. So whether I'm in the US selling in the UK, EU, Australia, Singapore, wherever, Amazon is just shipping me that money back if I choose to allow them to. Another scenario that marketplace payouts is important is for people that are in other countries. If I am in a different country, somewhere in Eastern Europe, and I want to sell on Amazon US, guess what? A lot of these scenarios require you to have a local basically payment account where Amazon can pay you to. So Bradley, if I'm living in some country in Eastern Europe, right, that Amazon won't pay directly to, can I just fly to the US, open up a bank account, and let Amazon pay into that account to open up my Amazon account?
No, and that's a struggle. I mean, that's a struggle. People, you know, people are what they do is, oh, let me get a relative, and maybe they live in the United States, and maybe they can do a bank account. But then when they do that, now Amazon's like, wait a minute, this is not your name right here. You know what's going on? So this is a big struggle for many foreign sellers in wanting to sell here in the States.
Yeah, so essentially sellers that are already selling internationally are you know, having Amazon make their repatriatization processes, repatriatizing those funds, or they just can't open up an Amazon account at all, which is really crappy. So that's why in Alta we have a marketplace payouts feature. Now, the way this works is that we will set up local currency accounts for you. All right, local currency accounts. And Bradley, I know you've been through this process. What was it like getting all of this set up for yourself?
It was actually pretty easy. I did it for the US. And the reason why I did it was, you know, I obviously don't need a bank account. I live in the United States. I got my nice trusty Chase Bank. But it was, excuse me, in order to use this other thing that we're about to talk about in a few minutes, but it was super easy. I mean, all I did was I went into my Seller Central account and I just changed my bank information. It was just like changing my routing number, changing the bank name. It took me maybe all of 2 or 3 minutes. But even if you are doing it from another country, and this is the first time you're setting up a bank, it's a similar process. All you're doing is you're entering the Alta quote unquote bank details. You know, Alta is not a bank, but it's like a virtual account that you are putting your account number, you're putting the address, you're putting the routing number, and it's done within minutes.
Yep. Yeah. So instead of you having to fly to the US and get a bank to open up an account, you open up a digital wallet account with Alta, and we will give you that bank account information that you enter in your marketplace. Steve Walsh is asking, does Alta charge a fee? If you open up a local USD currency account and you're having Amazon pay into that currency, no, that's free. Your money goes straight into your Alta account for free. USD to USD is an exact match. We're opening up Australia. We're soon to have Canada. If I am, in the US and I open up a Canadian account and I want my Canadian dollars dispersed to my Alta digital wallet Canadian currency account, that's free. There is no charge there. The only times I would ever have a charge is if I started converting currencies, and we'll talk about that later. But essentially, this is a free service. So what does this let you do? Is it lets you open up an account that you may not have been able to open up. And when I say account, I mean a marketplace account, right? Because we give you basically that local currency presence that you need. The other thing we were talking about, my Canadian situation where Amazon was transferring this funds for me. What I didn't realize was Amazon was taking my Canadian dollars, changing them to US dollars for me, and charging me 4%. Google this if you don't believe me. It's called ACCS, Amazon Currency Conversion System, and they make a ton of money off of this. 4%, guys, 4% is what Amazon's taking right off the top. Now, there are some bank fees that have to happen, like currency conversion is not free. So, a business entity like Sellers Funding or like, we have an Alta, we get charged too. So there is a fee for that only when you convert currencies. So let me tell you like how that would happen. If I want to just take my Canadian dollars and park them in my Canadian currency, that's free, right? No problem, super easy. Now, if I want to convert those Canadian dollars to US dollars or a different currency, RMB, if I want to send that money to Australian dollars or to euros, the starting fee with Alta is 1%. And with volume and by using other products in the system, we can actually get that lower too. So it just starts at 1%. That's like the maximum that we charge. So essentially, if you're already selling in a different marketplace, and Amazon's converting those funds for you and bringing them back, we could potentially start off right now by charging you or by saving you 3%, potentially more based on like different volume and different factors. What else, Bradley?
You covered it. You covered it there. Well, when the thing that I'm looking forward to is the opposite way. I know it's still in process, but as a seller based here in the U.S., one of the two of the reasons why I never just decided to open up even like the Project X account, our Project X account is just in the US, but I'm like, man, I don't want to have to go through the hassle of getting my VAT over there in the UK. And I don't have to want to worry about trying to figure out how to get a bank account in the UK. And I'm not even sure how. So that's going to be exciting. As soon as we get that set up, Project X is going to be one of the first accounts that I'm going to do it for the flip side. Instead of a foreigner trying to open up a marketplace payout for US, it's an American trying to open up marketplace payout for another country.
Yep. And Bradley, I just got a private text message from one of my buddies said, tell Bradley to send me some pizza. So not only are we getting
hold on,
currency conversions, but people are
I'm sorry, it's all gone. I ate them.
Oh, man. All right. So the next product, let's talk about supplier pay. And I told you as we progress, we're going to get like to more and more exciting stuff. Supplier pay is something that when I started like dabbling in the fintech space, I had people even within companies tell me, Tim, nobody cares about supplier pay. Supplier pay is not important. I remember sitting down with a business development person once and having an argument like, hey, we need to have this really functional supplier pay. And people argued with me. And I think people are starting to come around understanding how important this is for Amazon sellers. So when I first started doing large transactions to China, I've told the story of buying this giant piece of equipment in China that I was shipping to Africa of all places. And we made a wire transfer from the US to this supplier in China. I'm in China on a Monday. I'm looking at this piece of equipment. I call my business partner in the US. He has to wait till the bank account opens the next day, go to the bank, thumbprint, all sorts of crazy stuff, sends a wire transfer for 6 figures. The moment that wire transfer is sent, it's gone. There's no getting it back. There's no tracking it easily. And I'll talk about that in a second. It's gone. And you know what? It was going to take 3 or 4 days for that wire transfer to make it to our supplier's bank account. So for the next 4 nights, I laid in bed staring at the ceiling, couldn't sleep. scared to death. What if the supplier says the money didn't show up? Do we know if it didn't show up? No. What if he just stole the money? There's no way for me to know. What if we show up and the supplier just dips out and the machinery's gone? Like, I was so terrified because the traditional way of paying suppliers is a little bit antiquated, right? Like, it's a little bit obsolete. There are better ways of doing this. So that's why we created the supplier pay feature through Alta and through the digital wallet. This is really, really awesome. Right now, through the Alta digital wallet, you can pay suppliers between 37 currencies to 200 different countries. Now, why is there a mismatch there? Well, because like so many European countries use euro, right? Like the same currency. But also there are times and places that you can send the same currency to different countries. So you can send US dollars to a bank account in China in US dollars. There's no currency conversion. It's just sending money from one country to another within the same currency. And I kind of want to clear that up because a lot of people ask, well, why is 137 plus 200? Also, we need to remember that we can pay suppliers for faster future payments, right? Like, that's really, really important. Bradley, you want to hit a couple more of these? I hate to steal the show and talk about all of it. And you're currently using supplier pay right now.
Yep. Yeah. So I've used it a few times already, you know, and this is called supplier pay, guys, but it's not just suppliers that you can pay, you know, for this. You can, let's say you've got virtual assistants in India and the Philippines, another country. You can pay them through this service. But I think the majority of people are going to use this to pay their suppliers. And it's just a great kind of way to all in one platform that you can send it instead of having to, hey, I'm going to get my marketplace payout from Amazon to my digital wallet, but now I got to go transfer that, you know, to one bank account. And then from my bank account, I'm going to set up a wire transfer. You know, some banks actually require you to go to the bank to send, you know, these wires. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just do it right from your dashboard. It takes the last time I just bought some here. I'll give you guys something that nobody knows right now. And even Tim, I don't even know if I told Tim, but everybody knows this from Project X, right? So if you remember, one of those products that we made with Project X was an egg tray, all right? And it was for 18 eggs, 18 eggs. And we had this one customer who has bought maybe 80 or 90 of these egg trays. And then they reached out and they're like, hey, you know what? You know, I set up these houses all over the Pacific, or the Pacific Northeast. Yeah, there we go. The Pacific Northeast.
All those pizza carbs have gotten to your brain.
You know, New York, she's like a real estate agent. And when she stages the houses, she puts the egg trays. And she's like, I'd love it if you guys made a 12 egg tray. So I'm like, hey, we'll do it. So I actually just used it a few weeks ago to pay the egg tray supplier for a brand new egg tray that we're going to launch on Project X account for 12 egg trays. It took me maybe 2.5 minutes from setting them up. I had never paid them before, to set them up as a new payee. And to send the money, it took maybe 2 to 2.5 minutes. Super easy.
Yeah, and again, that's part of why this is important. Like, we know that our time is valuable. We want to make things faster. We don't want to go down to banks, you know, constantly. And there are even like my bank right now, my international bank that I can use, I can do it over the phone, but they have to fax me something. Like, who has a fax machine anymore, right? The other thing that's cool is, remember I talked about tracking payments. When we sent that wire transfer that first time, I didn't know what the status of what that is. But with the Alta Digital Wallet with Supplier Pay, you actually get payment updates. It's crazy. If I send a regular wire transfer and my supplier says, oh, I never got the wire transfer, I have to wait up to like 2 weeks from the time the wire is sent. Then I have to open up what's called a trace, where the bank will try to track this down. And sometimes that takes another 2 weeks. And I have to pay like $80 or $90 just to get that trace done. Bradley, if we logged into your Alta account right now, you could see the actual status of your payments. And when the supplier receives that payment, it updates in your wallet, right?
Yeah, it'll say, I forgot what it says, like completed or something like that. So you don't have to, it's not a guessing game. You know, like I know people spend sleepless nights when especially the first time they're sending money to a new supplier, like, oh man, what if it never gets or anything? Well, you don't have to worry about that because you'll see it in Alta. By the way, real quick, guys, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but we always like giving out free things on these webinars. So if you guys want a chance, not everybody will get it, but if you want a chance to get a free Helium 10 t-shirt, take a selfie of yourself watching this webinar, or take a screenshot if you're on your phone, and put it to your Instagram story and tag Helium 10 software. So tag Helium 10 software. If you want, you can tag Tim and I too. We'll not retweet, but re-story or whatever it's called. Tim is at Timbo_Jordan, and I'm at H10 Bradley. So we're gonna, Cassandra, our social media manager, will get some of you guys slide into your DMs and send you guys a free.
I want to get tagged more than Bradley, because Bradley always gets tagged more than me.
Now Tim has more followers than me, so I'm the one who needs more Instagram followers. Okay.
All right. Another cool thing about supplier pay is, think about this. We're going to start stacking stuff up now, okay? Because we talked about all these tools like roll up into one cool thing. And the Sellers Funding COO is messaging me just a second ago, and she's like, wait, you haven't mentioned this. And I was like, it's coming. So think about this. The marketplace payouts. Remember, we said it's free if you're getting paid from one marketplace, right? So let's say you're in Europe right now, okay? You live in Europe, but you sell on Amazon.com. Traditionally, Amazon.com would send you your payments to your European bank account and charge you 4%. Now, you can just take those funds, deposit them into your USD, your US dollars, local currency account in Alta, and park it there for free, okay? It's just sitting there. Then you go to pay your supplier. It used to be your funds would go from your Amazon marketplace in the US to your European bank account, and then you have to send it to your supplier. What if you stopped some of those transactions and you just left your money in your USD bank or Alta digital wallet account and then sent it straight to your supplier? You're not getting charged multiple currency conversion transactions. You can actually simplify this. So supplier pay gets really, really powerful because you're reducing the number of transactions, and you're able to have control over what currencies you're keeping at what specific time. You can even get real fancy and start, speculating on what currency is going to increase or decrease in value, all that stuff that's way over my head. And Ricardo right now is probably rolling his eyes that I'm even bringing it up, but there are people already doing it. It's really powerful stuff. So let me talk about the power of converting to suppliers, converting your currency when you pay to suppliers. I told you I was going to show you a personal WeChat conversation. On the right-hand screen, I'm having a conversation, and this is just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, with one of my favorite suppliers in China. He used to be my business partner when I owned a sourcing company, all right? I basically said, you told me some time ago that you increased the price on your invoices because you have to pay you have to pay a conversion fee. What's the typical markup? And we know this is an accurate WeChat screenshot of mine because of all the typos. Those of you that know me recognize that. And basically what he's saying is it depends on the currency, but if the bank exchange rate is $1 to 6.8 RMB, which is Chinese currency, he'll change it and assume it's $1 to 7. It's not that big of an amount. Here's the thing. That is a 4% upcharge. A 4% upcharge. Now, I've explained this to a couple people, like I talked about in the Elite webinar. People said, whoa, my suppliers are ripping me off 4%. That's not at all what I'm saying. But if I send USD, US dollars, to their account in US dollars, can they use those US dollars? No. They can't use US dollars to pay their raw materials providers, to pay their logistics providers, to pay their employees, to pay their light bill. They have to then convert it from US dollars to RMB, to local Chinese currency. That transaction, they're converting currency, typically their bank is going to charge 4, 5, 6%. They just pass that on to us. So this is my old business partner. This is one of my good friends, and he's marking it up 4%. A lot of times suppliers will mark this up 5, 6%, okay? So what's really, really cool is with supplier pay through Alta, and this is like very unusual. Most banks in the world have a hard time doing this, right? And you can do it from your laptop in Alta. You can pay your suppliers in RMB. So what does that mean? Is this like an automatic discount? No, you have to call your supplier and you have to say, hey, you sent me an invoice for my next order, $50,000 US. If I can land your payment in RMB, can we reduce that down? Can we save 5%, 6%? Negotiate with them. Maybe they'll give you 4%, a 5% discount. Now, Alta will charge you that currency conversion fee, which remember I said starts at 1%, and we can get that lower based on some other factors, but it starts at 1%, starting at 1%. So think about that. If my buddy Ron is marking it up just 4% and I can save 1%, that's a 3% savings right off the bat if I can negotiate that with him. So just as an example, if you're a $5 million a year seller, you're likely spending or sending $2.5 million, $2 million, something like that to your suppliers for materials. 3% of that is $75,000. This can get a lot bigger, a lot faster. So think about the power when you're thinking about like all of these fees you didn't know existed, like your suppliers having to mark up for their own internal conversion fee. Think about the power of something like Alta in giving you the flexibility and the ability for you to control when currencies are converted at a reduced price. It's super, super powerful stuff. And Bradley, you've never even heard of this until I showed it to you, right?
Nope. I didn't even realize this kind of stuff was happening.
All right. Daily advance. Bradley, you want to take a swing at what daily advance is?
Sure. So daily advance, guys,
well, let's talk about the problem. I don't know who typed this. It must have been Matt. Ugh.
Where do you? That wasn't me. I'll tell you that right. That's not my language. But I'm more of a grr, person. But anyways, guys. But that's just the way it goes. Amazon. I guess at one point I can kind of understand it. They want to kind of protect themselves against like if there's chargebacks or whatever, and they don't want to have to. Every time they send money to you, it's probably it's costing them a little bit of money, so they're trying to save money. So it makes sense that they only do it every 2 weeks. But how this can affect you as a seller, like. This is cash money. This is cash money. And like, if you want to reorder your product is selling really good. You just imagine you just went through Prime Day, right? Let's say Prime Day is in October this year. You just hit Prime Day. You got wiped out of a lot of your inventory and you've got like, $40,000 that you sold over a few days of Prime Day. And now you got to reorder your product. So to make sure that you have enough in for Black Friday or for the Christmas season, well, you got to wait to put your down payment and pay for that order until you get your disbursement. And imagine if Prime Day was like on the very first day of your new pay period, you got to wait 2.5 weeks, literally 2.5 weeks before you can get the money from there. And that's 2.5 weeks that you cannot order your product. And that's going to screw over a lot of us. So basically that's the problem that we wanted to kind of solve with this next feature that Tim's going to talk about.
Yeah, so this next feature is daily payouts, right? This is eligible right now to U.S. or U.K. sellers with gross monthly sales of 2,000, averaging 2,000 over at least the last 3 months. Like, so if you're just beginning, we have to get some sales history because it takes us a lot to get this set up, right? You need to be selling in the U.S. marketplace. You need to set up a digital wallet. Like there's a list of things here just so you guys are kind of clear and understand what the credentials are and the criteria for getting this set up. But what's really cool about this is it absolutely opens up your cash flow, which is very, very important, right? So essentially what this connection does is we connect your Alta digital wallet and it reads your Amazon account information. It reads how much money you have in your Amazon bank. And every day, Alta is going to deposit funds into your account. Now, we never match like the full amount. We never go 100%, which means if my Amazon account balance increases by $500 in one day, Alta's not going to pay you $500. The reason is you're going to have some potential chargebacks, or you're going to have things like inbound shipping costs that you incur, PPC costs if you're applying it to your account. But we usually go 70, 80, 90% of those daily earnings. And then we charge you a small fee for that, right? Obviously, we can't do things for free, and this is a complex banking situation. But what this allows you to do is get your money faster. Now, when I first heard about this type of scenario, I thought, man, why would somebody want to, or why would I want somebody to charge me, 1-2% for basically letting me have my money 2 weeks earlier, up to 2 weeks earlier? Like, is that worth it? And then I started learning about opportunity cost. I started learning that the faster I could get inventory in, the more money I could make. So if I was paying even up to 2% for this, basically tool, then if I were able to take that money and buy more inventory and flip it faster, I couldn't afford not to do it. Like, this is super, super powerful. The other thing that it adds is security. I'm sure some of you have heard some horror stories. It's not real common. It's not often, and Amazon's, cutting some of this down, but there are scenarios where people have their accounts hacked into and have their bank account information changed, and you don't realize it. This actually happened to a business I was working with several years ago with a 6-figure deposit. Like, the day before the 6-figure deposit was bound to happen, someone logged into the bank account or into the Amazon account, changed the bank account information, and Amazon sent the money to somewhere like in Europe or something. I don't even remember where it was. Truth was Amazon had to reimburse us because that money never came back. And some of you heard those stories. If I'm getting paid by Alta every day, I'm getting that cash faster. I'm reducing that risk of potential issues happening, right? So this is super, super powerful stuff. Another thing that's cool is the daily advance is eligible for people that aren't even necessarily in the US. So if you're in Europe and you open up a digital wallet account, but you sell on Amazon US, we can still get you that money every day, which is super, super powerful. The big one, Bradley.
The big kahuna, the credit line. All right. So again, let's just really briefly talk about why we even made this, or what's the problem that it solves. And hey, if we want to expand our brand, all right, it takes capital. You know, not a lot of us are independently wealthy or descendants of British monarchy like Tim Jordan. No, I'm just, but you know, we don't have, you know, bank accounts where we've just got, you know, $500,000, $100,000, $50,000 just sitting in our bank account waiting to be used. So, and even if we start selling a product, a lot of times we put our money back into that product to order more, but that's only going to help you scale so fast. You know, what helps you scale faster? Hey, it's launching, instead of just a coffin shelf, hey, let's launch an egg tray at the same time. Hey, let's launch a 12 egg tray. Let's launch a brown coffin shelf. You know, let's expand out, and exponentially that is going to help you scale your business faster. But no matter what, it takes money. And if you don't, a lot of us don't have this lying around. So that's where this credit line comes in, because in the past, what do you guys do if you need capital? You know, look on your screen right now. You're going to, you know, maybe ask for a loan at the bank, ask mom and dad or rich uncle or something to give you a loan, Aunt Wilma, all right? Your neighbor, I don't know how many people ask their neighbors. You got to have a really nice neighbor if you feel like—
You better have a really good relationship with your neighbor to ask him for money.
Yeah, if you really think you can ask them.
Even going back to the banks, you know, everybody thinks about,
you know,
like going to your bank for a loan. Here's the problem. Nobody knows what the heck it is that we do. As e-commerce sellers, especially marketplace sellers, this is still a foreign concept to the majority of the world. When I go into banks, if I want to get a line of credit or get a loan for inventory, man, they look at me like I'm an alien with 6 horns popping out of my forehead, right? They want 2 years of tax returns. They want, like, it's crazy, jumping through the hoops. When we decided to build this, we knew it needed to be different. And here's another thing. When I first started selling online, I was scared to death to borrow money. I was scared of it. I don't want to go in debt. I don't want to. Every year, the biggest brands and the biggest manufacturers and the biggest, you know, retailers, the biggest businesses in the world know how to utilize capital and take advantage of it, right? Lego's got cash, but you know what? They borrow cash, right? When you can utilize capital responsibly, it can be the rocket fuel to your business that you didn't know you had. I used to consistently sell out of products, and because I'd have to, you know, order my product, get my product shipped. It's already paid for. So pay for it, then get it, you know, produced, get it shipped, get it landed, get it checked into FBA, get it sold, wait another 2 weeks to get paid. Boom, I can make another order. Guess what? Every time that stretched out, I would run out of stock. I hate to say it, but me and Bradley did that with Project X consistently. You know, we weren't managing our
multiple
cash flow.
times.
We weren't paying attention. How much money do we leave on the table? But if we were able to utilize, you know, a really, really custom tailored lending solution for us, we could have bought more inventory. We could have reduced our cost of inventory, because when we make bigger orders, we can negotiate those costs down. We can consolidate more products and more units per shipment, reducing the cost. So not only were our margins going up, but our overall profit was going up, which more than outweighed any interest that we would have paid on loan. Smart capital is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So how does Alta create a solution that the banks would scoff at, right? One thing that we do, that the primary thing we do, is we actually look at your marketplace sales history. That's what we do. We're not looking at, you know, a bunch of all these tax returns and stuff. Like, we're literally looking at what your marketplace is doing. And we've created a very unique, basically growth model that we look at, say, how are these people doing? Are they continuing to grow? We even look at things like if your sales dipped out 1 month, where a lot of, you know, like credit, you know, facilities or lenders would say, oh, their sales are declining. We can actually look at your inventory and say, well, of course it declined. They ran out of stock. Like, we could fix that. Let's fund them. Let's get them more inventory coming in so their sales grow up and we continue business. We have clients that Sellers Funding started 2 years ago that started off with a $25,000 loan, and now they have $1 million line of credit. No joke. Because we knew that by investing with these companies and having this relationship and helping them, they would grow and grow and grow and grow, and now everybody's winning, right? So we connect with your marketplace account. Bradley, which marketplace do we connect to? This is a trick question. Let's see if you get it right.
Which marketplace do we connect to? Actually, multiple marketplaces, not just Amazon, but Shopify. What else? What am I missing?
And multiple Amazon marketplaces, right? So if you're selling in multiple marketplaces, we combine that.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So
yeah,
like if I'm selling in the US and the UK and Germany, you guys, the Sellers Funding team can connect and see how much we're making so that we can even get qualified for more money?
We recently had a scenario where one guy was selling a decent amount in the US, but when we combined his sales in Canada and we combined his sales on Walmart, we were able to quadruple his credit line. Quadruple. It was crazy. We add all that stuff up. I was writing down some notes here. I'm looking at Art. I don't want to try to pronounce your last name, mess it up, buddy, but you know what I'm talking about. It looks like you actually applied for Alta. It looks like you were accepted a digital wallet, but you're trying to get a line of credit, and you said that you were denied. But you also have 3 Amazon accounts. So in that scenario, it's hard for us to see that automatically. We obviously can't because you probably connected to one store. In these situations, we actually have conversations with clients, bring it up to us, say, hey, I have multiple accounts. Look at this. And we will take customized looks and customized approaches, right? So the approvals and credit limits, for the initial offerings are based on your store history, your sales history, and some other factors, of course. And not everybody will be approved, right? We do have some criteria. If you're going through a bankruptcy and you don't have 2 nickels to rub together, that's pretty high risk. It's hard to give a loan. You have to have at least 6 months of sales history on a marketplace, right? You have to be doing a certain amount of volume, right? We can't necessarily offer a line of credit to someone that's doing $300 in sales a month, right? There are some criteria. Bradley, what else do you remember running into on the application process when you were connecting your accounts and getting approved for a credit limit?
It was pretty easy. They didn't ask me for where I grew up and all, like a deep FBI background check. Like sometimes if you guys go into a bank and go to a loan, you gotta well, what are your last 4 addresses and like how long have you lived here and what is this money exactly for and all that stuff. I didn't have to go through any of that. It was pretty easy. I would say on the one case study account that I had, I was doing about like between $30,000 and $40,000 a month gross sales on there, and I actually qualified for more than I needed. And it was $35,000. And can I talk about Tim how that differs with the Amazon lending? Is that cool?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so a lot of you guys have used the Amazon lending. Now here's the thing: if they say Joe, Justin, or Andy, there, if they tell you, hey, here's $30,000, and you click yes, how much do you have to get? Yep, it's $30,000.
Yeah,
it's that full amount, like whether you need it or not. And guess what? You're paying interest on that from that very day, that first day, even if you didn't need that full $30,000. Now, Alta qualified me for $35,000. I didn't need $35,000, but I just needed $5,000 to do a down payment on a new order. So I took out that $5,000, and now I'm only paying interest on that $5,000 from the moment I took it out instead of paying it on the full $30,000 thing that Amazon lending do. So for me, that was like the biggest benefit right there is I'm only paying interest. I'm only borrowing what I need at that time.
Yeah, so you just withdraw when you need it. And each withdrawal acts as a separate, basically a separate loan. And you get to select the terms on that. You can select whether you want 6, 9, 12 months, anywhere in between. You can select if you want interest-only payments up to 3 months. Now, why is that important? Because if I place a big order and it's a huge order, it's going to take 45 days to produce and 30 days to ship and 12 days to check in. Like if I have to next month start paying the principal payments on that might be rough because I'm not getting that money in, right? But we can actually do interest only for up to 3 months where you don't have to start paying back the principal until your sales of that initial inventory or that specific inventory is coming in. Bradley, another thing about Amazon lending that sucked. If you were selling in the US, You could only get an Amazon loan if you lived where?
In the U.S.
That's some bull crap right there. Our fellers across the border need some love too, right?
Now the Alabama's coming out of Tim a little bit. That's some bull crap right there.
That's some bull crap, dadgummit. So with the credit limit at Alta, you do not have to be a U.S. resident. You don't. You can live in different places, open up a digital wallet. We can disperse funds to your digital wallet if you have to go that route. If you live in the U.S., U.K., I think there's a couple other countries, I can't remember off the top of my head, we can actually disperse money right into your bank account. Like, we have basically busted open the borders on this type of financial tool, and nobody else is doing it right now. Like, it really is industry leading. Remember that first time that I sat down with Manny a year ago, Manny's like, we need to do something crazy. I was like, I know who to call. And I called up Ricardo at Sellers Funding. I'm like, we need to put this thing together, and we made this thing work. And now we're doing things that are industry leading that nobody else has ever offered. No one else is currently offering, especially when you combine all of this under one platform. It is absolutely industry leading. It is absolutely spectacular. Whew. All right, what else do we need to talk about with the credit limit? This is what Bradley was talking about with the time frame. And sorry, guys, I keep putting my mouse pointer on here. Someone's going to be yelling at me, I'm sure about that. So if you're approved for a $100,000 credit line, right? That's the maximum amount you can withdraw, but you can pull those out in different time frames, right? Like, we've already explained it, but you see it on this slide. You see exactly what I'm talking about. This just gives you control and it saves you money, right? This is what it looks like on the dashboard. Super, super, super easy. You can see the total credit line, how much is outstanding, how much is available. You can draw down on it with one button. Super, super simple. The credit proposals look like this. So you can actually get in and play with your different scenarios, okay? So you see those little sliders on the top, those 3 sliders? That's when you select how many terms you want in that loan. You know, this one is 10 months on a $10,000 draw. You can see, you know, the interest-only payments, like if you want to select up to 3 months, and you see it tells you exactly how much you're going to pay. So like the monthly rate on this $10,000 loan is 1.5%, right? Super, super easy to figure out. Once you have your credit proposal, you can go in and play with all the different scenarios. And every time that you do a different withdrawal, you can even change those parameters of that specific drawdown. All right, so let's talk about how things get really crazy when you add all of this up, okay? When you add all of these up, it literally creates a scenario that nobody else in the industry can replicate. It's completely unique. Example 1, you're an Australian seller. You open up an Alta digital wallet, and you start getting your payments in from Amazon US, different international marketplaces, and you even accept funds from your withdrawals on Alta credit limits. That goes into your digital wallet, which you can do whatever you want to. You can disperse that into your business account in Australia. You can pay your Chinese factory, your Indian factory, your shipping company, all from one central location. Where it used to be much more convoluted than this. Your Amazon payments would come to your Australian bank account. Then you'd have to send it back to the US to pay your shipping provider, and then over to India to your factory there. Here we've centralized all of this, and we've combined all this stuff to make a really, really crazy, powerful platform. Another example would be like if you were a US seller, right? US sellers, they say, well, why do I need some of this stuff? Like, I don't necessarily need a digital wallet. I don't necessarily need all of these features. But think about, you know, like actions where you're topping up accounts, you're sending money to different people. If I'm a U.S. seller and I have you see my mouse here, my business account in the U.S., I can actually take the funds from my Alta credit limit and drop it right into my U.S. account. I can have Amazon making disbursements into my U.S. account, but my payments from other marketplaces can drop straight into my digital wallet. Then from that digital wallet, I can pay Chinese supplier shipping companies. I can move my money from my business account into my digital wallet so that I can do those FX conversion fees from, you know, to my Chinese suppliers, shipping companies. You can also alternately change your funds flow. So instead of going from my credit limit withdrawals to my bank account in the US, then to my digital wallet, I can just pump that thing, drop it straight into my digital wallet, then immediately pay my supplier, make things super, super fast. Again, wrapping all these capabilities into one platform is immensely powerful. And I'll say it again, nobody else is doing this, guys. It really is industry leading. Again, some different things here, like I guess a summary. Bradley, do you want to start tackling some of these?
Yeah, so this is just a summary of what we talked about today. That second one there is the digital wallet, guys. That's kind of like the core out of everything. And we learned today that, hey, Hong Kong banks don't like Tim. I don't think it's just Hong Kong bank. A lot of people don't like Tim, but that's all right. I like Tim, and you all like Tim, so that's what's important. We got 37 currencies, over 200 countries. We talked about the daily advance. How you can get money every day into your digital wallet instead of having to wait 2 weeks for Amazon to send it. And that's not just for sellers in the USA. We talked about marketplace payouts. That's going to be a game changer for so many people who don't live in the US and don't have a means to be able to have a bank account set up for Amazon to give the disbursements to. What else did we talk about? You want to talk about the supplier pay and
let me time out. The reason we threw all this in one screen is so you guys can get screenshots. Take one image of this. Like if you're watching your laptop, get your cell phone, take a picture of it, screenshot this. This is a really good summary of all of the different tools, features, aspects of this whole platform. So I guess we don't need to go too deep into this, right? Like this is kind of a screenshot.
Yeah, we covered it, guys. And guys, we're going to give a link too, so that if there's a part that you didn't quite get fully, you'll be able to watch the replay. You'll be able to see it on the website, and you'll be able to ask questions in about 2 minutes here.
Yep. All right. So to get started, helium10.com/finance. Another one that we share is growwithalta.com. 2 different ways to get there. And guys, there's tons of information. A lot of you are asking questions. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to, but we have tons and tons of question and answers, FAQs, criteria, all that stuff loaded up on the website, either at the helium10.com/finance, or for me, it's hard for me to remember backslashes. So growwithalta.com.